Senior Living Today, brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wires Inc. and First Class Realty Triangle East.
And welcome again to Senior Living Today. What a great show we have for you this evening. But before we jump right into it, thank you for being part of the family at WHIG. It is a family organization. It is you sitting on the couch that supports us, and the Senior Living Today program touches on different, I guess, just ideas of what we experience every day in our life. Now, what helps us here on Senior Living is our sponsors. And we have a great one sitting to my right tonight that I'm not going to introduce yet and take the thunder away from Mr. Braswell, but Brett Hill, First Class Realty. If you're thinking of selling, buying, Brett Hill is the way to go. He's local right here in Rocky Mount. And then we also have, as you saw earlier, that would be Brian West, is that correct? Yeah. At Wires Inc. Anything dealing with the automobile. Cheryl, is it true he's the bedliner that you always tell everybody about?
True.
And anything for the radio, stereo, anything in that automobile, make sure you go see Wires Inc. Well, getting us started tonight, we have one of our sponsors with us, as I said earlier. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Braswell right now to do the introduction, and let's get underway. Cheryl?
Okay, thanks, sir. This evening we got Patrick Ignacio with us. He is Ward's Specialty Pharmacy. And the thing that Patrick talks about that always intrigues me is he is a compounding pharmacy. Can you just touch on that, Patrick, and tell us what that...
Sure. Before anything else, I would like to say hi to everyone, and I would like to thank you, Joey and Cheryl, for inviting me again. This is my second time. You know, I mean, I felt like I'm not new anymore here, but thank you always, you know, for inviting me.
Patrick, let me help you and interrupt you. It was those people, Senior Living Today, that called and said, we need to have Ward Pharmacy back on, because we couldn't answer the questions. Take it away, Patrick.
Yes, sir. So again, I mean, I'm Patrick from Ward Specialty Pharmacy. We've been here since, 1912 in Nashville, and we moved here in Rocky Mount. We're doing only compounding. When we say compounding, is that we mix medication from scratch. So in short, we make medication, for your pets, for individuals, both humans and alike. And as I mentioned, we can actually, let's say if you're an individual with unique health conditions, and you want a medication that needs to be converted, let's say, into a liquid, or into a cream, or into a capsule, or into a different solution, yes, we can do that depending on the situation.
Right.
But needs to have a prescription always.
Yes. When you were here before, we touched just briefly on the infamous term, the donut hole, in the prescription drug plans for those of you who are in the world of Medicare now. And
Mr. Braswell, I hate to interrupt, but seniors, got a question for both. When you say, and maybe you know this, but I don't, when you say the donut hole, what does that mean?
Well, if you go to the Krispy Kreme...
That's not what we're talking about tonight, but I know you got that. You know where Krispy Kreme is. Cheryl?
The donut hole, when you have a prescription drug plan and you start taking a medication in January, February, March, as you progress through the year, depending on the amount of money that you have spent and the manufacturer has spent on your prescription, when you reach a certain point, the amount that you have to pay goes up. And that's when we say you've gotten into the donut hole. And during that period of time, in my dealing with individuals, my clients, I've had people who, they will come by and see me, and it's like, well, my prescriptions have gone from paying $5 or $6 a piece for them. Now I've got one that's costing me, $400 a month for the next 2 or 3 months.
Ouch.
And some are a lot worse than that. I mean, we have found some that were a lot worse than that. And in talking with Patrick, he's unfortunately he can't do this with everything, but there are certain prescriptions that he can work with your doctor And, you know, when you do get in the donut hole, and you may have the opportunity there to save a good bit of money.
I agree with you, Cheryl. I mean, that's actually one of the sad part, you know, I mean, in most of our patients, or especially, you know, the elderly, two ways, you know, to deal with that. It's either they will stop, you know, taking the medication, or, you know, getting the medication, or they would really, you know, embrace, you know, the expense. And we're not only talking here about, you know, few $100s. Sometimes it's actually, you know, more.
Yes.
And that actually bleeds my heart also, because again, I mean, it's like if I have a parent or my mom, for instance, who's in that state, I don't know what to do. So that's why, you know, I mean, yes, we've discussed that. You know, we don't have the entire solutions for everything, but yeah, I mean, we can actually probably, you know, help you in some of this. The best way really is, you know, I mean, to look on that, because, you know, saving probably, you know, a couple of $100s. I mean, that's a lot already. You know, I mean, you can buy a lot of that. You know, a lot of things of that, right?
And for folks who do not know, Patrick, where are you located?
We're currently located here in Rocky Mount, right across, you know, Harris Theater in Sunset, beside Dunkin' Donuts, and I mean beside the Pizza Hut, and and Dorita. We're there in Sunset.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Are there? You know, again, I know we can't do everything. You can't take care of every prescription that's out there, but are there certain drugs that you see that's a common thing that you can take care of?
Oh yeah, Mr. Shell and Joey. You know, I mean, for instance, you're having pain. I mean, that's the most common thing. Let's face it, right? I mean, you're having pain, and you have probably, you know, muscular pain or even arthritic pain, and sometimes, you know, you'll be needing some pain gel, for instance. I mean, I'm sure you've used some
Yes,
of
we
this.
have a rub on the knee or what
Right.
have you.
What specific, you know, medication have you used in the past?
Well, this weekend, I tried to outrun my grandson, and it didn't go too well for me, I can tell you that. And so I was sitting there Saturday night rubbing Thermacare, was the product I had. And so,
But have you used a prescription before? You know, I mean, a certain...
oh gosh, I have, Patrick, but I could not tell you what it was.
Okay, so basically, you know, that medication, for instance, you know, I mean, if you have insurance and, you know, insurance is paying for it, it's so expensive. And then if you don't have, you know, if you, you know, fall into that donut hole, then that's the time you're actually, you know, you have to pay it out of pocket, right?
Yes, you do.
So typically, you know, the cost of that one would run between $300 to $400, wherein, you know, I mean, technically, I mean, we can actually, you know, reduce that price by almost like, you know, $200 to $300, and you will actually be getting the same benefit of a stronger potency. So that's, you know, that's one thing, you know, I mean, we don't want you to be in pain for the rest of, you know, how many months you'll be on that, you know, donut hole. So we can actually, you know, somehow recommend something that you may potentially use. And your doctor, you know, we just need to have an agreement with the doctor that, you know, he's okay with that. Another thing is, you know, I mean, for those women who are using, for instance, hormone-related, right? Let's say they have some issues like vaginal dryness, or even a hormone that's needed. Again, I mean, this product, if you're on that specific, you know, issue, that costs you around $300 to $400. And even those who are actually not facing, you know, donut hole, but at the same time you don't have any insurance, that's actually, you know, the cost. Wherein you can actually, you know, get it only for a month's supply for $65, you know, for instance.
Is that the same situation for men with testosterone issues as well as ladies with hormones? Do
Oh
they
yeah,
have that?
not only the testosterone, sir. We can actually talk about, you know, for ED, for instance, you know, the tadalafil, sildenafil, you know, all those
Absolutely.
things. You know, I mean, that is so exorbitant also, especially if you don't have
And
that.
Patrick, that's the reason having you on, you're able to tell our senior market, which so many deal with this every day. And a lot of people keep it to themselves instead of coming out and trying to get relief. And to know you have a place to go to actually do what? Get an answer to your question, a resolve to the problem, and it's something that we can afford.
And understand what Patrick was saying, which I think was very important to me, is that you work with that person's doctor.
Yes.
So the doctor knows exactly what we're doing, the doctor has approved it, and Yeah.
And again, I mean, we're not here, to take you away from your pharmacy or from your doctor. We actually work with your doctor. If we feel like, let's say, Mr. Braswell will be coming to me and say, hey, Patrick, I have this list, and these are things that, I feel like, I'm going to pay this much, or I've checked it already that I'm paying this much, then I would say, oh, these are, two of these probably we can help you with. I mean, you don't need to go to your doctor, but we can actually, send a recommendation to your doctor and just wait for the approval. And again, I mean, if you're happy with it, then you may continue. And then if not, I mean, after your insurance would kick in again, then you may actually go back to your regular pharmacy or your regular medications as well.
Interesting. One of the things we talked about, you and I, in just general conversations, is it true that with a lot of compounding, the medication will actually work quicker in a compound than it will in a tablet?
Well, again, I mean, to define that, more is that, let's say a patient, because what are the ways that we can compound? That's, I think, the best question first. Is that, I mean, if a patient has, allergens to a specific medication, we can compound that. If the drug is not available in the market, we can actually compound that. If a patient, for instance, is taking a pill and wanted to be in a solution form or in a topical form, then we can do that. Now, the question again now of Mr. Braswell, of course, if you are to determine which is more absorbed, of course, it's always the liquid, because once you take in a liquid, it's absorbed right away, right, from the mouth.
Yes.
But if it's actually in a capsule form or in a tablet form, it needs to be dissolved, in your gut before it's being absorbed. So the question there, it really depends on the patient needs, an alternative delivery system. So that's the thing that, would actually work for that.
But again, you get to work with the client as they come in, and you work out a game plan that works for each.
Yes, because each individual is unique, right? Mr. Braswell or Mr. Joey is actually different from each other. You can probably react more with this, and you have allergy with that. So we can tweak that. That's the beauty about compounding, is that we can tweak your medication appropriate to your needs. Because again, each individual is unique. Same thing whether it's a pet, or an individual, especially for hormone, for instance. One size fits all is not always the solution.
Yes. Now, what type of background do you have, Patrick? What type of schooling do you
Number one, you have to be, I'm a pharmacist by profession, and after this is actually what happened. So, I graduated with a traditional, pharmacy background. So, of course, we typically, fill prescriptions, and I got an exposure with Gary in Nashville before in compounding. And that's how I fell in love with this profession, is because we're always thinking of a solution. Because, a patient would come in and say, hey, I have this problem, I can't actually swallow a pill, what would be the best thing, And that's how I get so involved with compounding. And I felt like, that is a niche market. It's not for everyone.
Right.
But of course, that we're catering, for those special individuals. And the beauty about that is that, we were able to help a lot of people. We have unique, products that we're doing, for instance, for those who are having some issues with their butt, for instance, hemorrhoids and anal fissure. We can actually, make some medications with that. For those who are having wound problems, we also do that. For those who are having, for babies, all fields in related to medicine, we have actually a solution for that. And of course, would you say, did you have a proper training? Yes, we do have proper training. Not everybody, not all pharmacists are also into compounding. That's another thing. And we are also a member of PCCA, which actually provides us different trainings, and at the same time formulations. We have almost 150 consultants all over the U.S. that if we need any help we can actually call them. And PCCA means Professional Centers for Compounding of America. So that's the definition of that one.
Okay. Okay.
When we're looking at, Patrick, the nice thing of where you're going to camera here, something I learned right then before we go to commercial break. A client comes in, and whatever the issue may be, we can't have all answers to all questions. But really what you're telling our audience tonight, Patrick, if you have a question, the best way to do is to actually come in to Ward Pharmacy and address it. And that personal relationship is a lot different than some of your large, I guess, am I right in this, Patrick, Mr. Braswell? Pharmaceutical houses or drugstores that I guess you become a number.
Well, again, Sir Joey, I mean, I want our patient or our customers or even your clients to experience that, because again, what makes us different is that, you know, when you come to our store, it's actually a pharmacist that would ask you. And we are not just, you know, pushing anything in the store. We always ask questions. And I'm sure Mr. Braswell have, you know, noticed that one as well. We don't just push something that, you know, in our shelves. We always try to dig in, you know, questions, dig deeper, so that we really can find out, you know, what's the underlying, you know, problem, concerns of the patient.
It sounds like to me, and we're right before a commercial break, but relationships matter. The same thing with Statewide. But here, as you've had questions sitting on your couch, we encourage you to pick up the phone, call Ward Pharmacy. Patrick, what is that telephone number there?
It's 252-459-5544. Again, it's 252-459-5544. We still have, you know, the old Ward number when we were in Nashville. So.
Really?
It's a local pharmacy that you'll want to engage in. And we're going to be right back after a commercial break with a brand new topic. Stay tuned. We'll see you in just a moment.
Senior Living Today, brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wires Inc. and First Class Realty Triangle East.
Hi, Cheryl Braswell with Statewide Insurers Group. Are you turning 65 and do you have questions about your Medicare options? Let Statewide Insurers Group help you choose the insurance plan that best suits your needs now. We at Statewide Insurers Group are all things Medicare. We're here and can help you through this challenging time, by phone, by email, or if you prefer, come by the office. We're following all protocols during this difficult time. Folks, relationships matter. You and your family have important questions. We have the correct answers. You do not want to put this off. Act today. Give us a call at Statewide Insurers Group. Our number is 252-316-8166.
And welcome back to Senior Living Today. Great show, great questions. Feel free to call in to Statewide with any questions you have about products. Feel free to give Ward Pharmacy a call and speak to, of course, Patrick, who is our guest, I guess we want to say guest star here tonight.
Yes.
But Patrick, I've got one question as we come into this last segment.
Yes, sir.
As we're looking, someone walks in to the pharmacist and asks you the question, Mr. Patrick, how long does it take from start to finish after reading my prescription to get my product? A timeline, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
Thank you so much for asking that, Joey, because again, this is not the same as the regular prescription wherein, you know, it's readily available. We have to make it. And each individual compound varies really, you know, depending whether it's a simple and complex compound. it may take actually a product, let's say 30 minutes an hour, or we have also a product that needs to be overnight before to get that. And what are these solutions are easy to made compared to a capsule that takes probably 2 to 3 hours, compared to a lollipop, for instance, or a suppository that needs to have an overnight timeline. And the way we do it, of course, I mean, we actually, once you got in with your prescription, we actually give you the price. By the way, we're not in network with any insurance, but this is actually out of pocket. But we will make sure that you would actually save a lot of money, especially if you're on a donut hole. And then, I mean, the rest of the products, usual products, I mean, of course, I mean, you can get that from your pharmacy. So, and then we would be calling you once everything is ready. So we don't actually make a compound unless you have the full consent and approval regarding the price and regarding the time on how to do it. So, and then we will be calling you.
And so then it comes right back to the idea of what we said earlier, the relationship that you have with your pharmacist, of what you're doing on a daily basis, let alone from month to month. Cheryl, you had a question that was sent over.
I'm in the donut hole. We're able to get a compound made for me. Does that affect my insurance company if I'm using you? I mean, I know they would not pay for that particular product, but does it have any detrimental effect on my prescription drug plan?
I don't think so, because again, I mean, it's actually your, you have your consent, and at the same time, you have to make a decide, right? You have to empower yourself, to see, it's either a choice of, are you going to pay $1,000 or you're going to pay $100?
Right.
So it really depends, but it won't actually, ruin. I think it won't affect, with your insurance.
Right.
Then Cheryl, before you get into the new topic, you hit on something right then, Patrick, that we need to bring to our senior audience. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, so many people sometimes at the end of a month, and even in the donut hole, have to decide, Patrick, am I going to pay my rent? Am I buying food? Am I going to buy my medication? It's very difficult out there right now. We hear that all the time at the office. What can I do? So to hear what Mr. Braswell is saying to you, Patrick, that's one of, I guess, another reason to come to you. Consultation, relationships matter, to find out what could be done. And the only way to do that is to pick up the phone or to walk through the door.
Yes, just check it out. Because again, we don't want you to be hurting, for a month or 2 months if, we can do something. And we're here, our existence is because, not just merely for business, it's because of the people that really needs, I mean, again, this profession is more of a mission.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
What's the new topic, Mr. Braswell?
CBD oil.
CBD.
oil.
Ooh. Well, I know nothing about that, so seniors, I hope you know more than I do. Take it away, Mr. Braswell. Patrick, go right ahead.
I will tell you my limited knowledge about hemp, which is where the CBD oil is derived from. Back in the 1700s, hemp plants were used, I guess the fibers from hemp plants were used to make clothing, to make rope. That was evidently, it was very resistant to water because the navies around the world used the hemp to make ropes with and also to make sails with. I did not know that until I did a little reading today. And to make paper. And I love trivia. So my last piece of trivia, the 1850 U.S. Census counted 8,000 hemp farms in the United States. And to be counted, for your farm to be counted, you had to have 2,000 or more acres of hemp growing.
So 2,000 acres. I wouldn't qualify for that,
Nope.
Mr. Braswell. No, I would not, Patrick. Well, what does this oil do for our senior market, and for even for us sitting here now? What is it good for, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, interesting topic. Again, I mean, I encourage you guys, if you're interested to know more about this one, it's either you call Statewide and ask them to invite me again, and at the same time, call us in the pharmacy. Because why? Why am I saying this? Because this is a very hot, product and hot topic. The only problem is that it's not regulated. Okay, when we say it's not regulated, anybody can actually sell this product. Okay, now why am I emphasizing this one? So Ward Specialty Pharmacy is the first pharmacy in our state that carry CBD, and we were the ones who actually even requested the Board of Pharmacy regarding this one. But what we wanted to actually highlight on this is that CBD has so far. There's actually a lot of studies regarding this product, for instance, that would help with pain, that can help with anxiety, if you have problems with sleep also. It's being also used now for even diabetic patients, for instance. And there's a lot more. And for those who are trying to reduce their, opioid medications, I mean, they're actually using this one also. Now, the thing is, again, one of the description of the hemp plant is that it's like a vacuum cleaner. It actually attracts pollutants from the air and from the soil. So it can potentially help you with some of those conditions. But the thing is, again, there's danger. So that's why, again, you have to be very careful and very selective in where you're buying your CBD. Now, one thing that I am very proud of is that, again, I told you that we are the first, right? Our product is really, high quality. And I personally, travel and see the facility that makes our CBD just to make sure that, all our customers who are getting this are actually, very safe. If you would ask all the pharmacists, around in this area, if they have been to their CBD supplier, most of them, they have not seen how the process is being made. Or even, gasoline station, for instance, and even other CBD store. I bet you none of them actually saw the process of their own product. So that's one thing that I can actually vouch that you are very safe. And in fact, our bottles alone, when you scan that, you can actually trace back whether there is actually impurities or not. Because again, I'm very particular with quality. In fact, a lot of suppliers are coming to the pharmacy and say, can we have your products, can we have our products stocked in your pharmacy? The first question that I would always ask them is that, can you invite me into your facility? None of them would come back and invite me to their facility, or they don't have even, have a picture of what their facility looks like. And be careful, buying it online as well. So I encourage you guys, if you have any question, again, we're here to help you. We could explain everything about the CBD, but mainly now for pain, for sleep and anxiety, again, for those with diabetes and neurological problems like, what do you call this? PTSD. Yes. So those are actually, some of the things that, they have, studies with it, and a lot more.
Yeah. That, Patrick and I have talked a little about this, in other conversations, and I would really encourage you, if you have a particular, chronic illness or something like that, take the time to go see this man. He will sit down with you. He's not going to charge you for a consultation, and let him, tell you what he knows about how this may help you in that situation, because chronic pain is nothing to have to live with.
Oh, living with chronic pain is unbelievable. But as we close, and it's been the quickest 30 minutes, again, we say thank you for tuning in, but I've got to throw it to Patrick one last, almost for closing, and then we'll go out. Patrick, what is your hours, secondly, and where you're located, and your telephone number, if you wouldn't mind, one more time, please.
Again, we're open from Mondays through Fridays only, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and we are located in Sunset, 3646 Sunset Avenue, Suite 110. That's right across Harris Theater from Sunset. And our phone number, 252-459-5544. Again, 252-459-5544. If you will be coming to our store and just wanted to talk, let's say for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, again, we don't charge. But if you wanted to talk to me extensively for an hour or 2 hours, then that's the time we actually don't charge.
Yeah. Outstanding. Well, in closing, we want to invite you to tune in next Tuesday. We have another great topic, another great guest. But it's thanks to you and WHIG, our patrons, our support, the people, Give Statewide a call with any questions that you may have for your need, your Medicare, life insurance, etc. And make sure you give Ward Pharmacy a call for anything you need in the bathroom as far as pharmaceuticals. We look forward to seeing all of you next time on Senior Living Today. Good night and God bless.
Senior Living Today, brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wires Inc. and First Class Realty Triangle East.